Hi everyone, Gnev here. You know that feeling when you're working on a project for hours? You forget to save it when your electricity runs out and you lose all your work. Feels pretty bad, huh? Well, imagine that you've been working on that project for 6 years, that you invested thousands of hours into your account, formed an emotional bond with your characters, and then lost them in a second. That's exactly what happened to thousands of MoltenWoW players back in January of 2015, after one of the lead figures in the Molten team went rogue and tried to seize all control for himself. Many players were devastated by this, and some say that you can still hear their screams in ICC if you listen closely enough. But we'll get to that part later. Let's start the story from the beginning. MoltenWoW was founded back in November of 2009 by a Russian businessman that goes by the name of Kher Wolf. He was himself a player and a World of Warcraft fan, so when the opportunity arose for him to open his own server, he sold his BMW to help pay for server maintenance and for talented programmers to work on the game. The investment paid off, as MoltenWoW quickly established itself as the most popular and arguably the best private server in the world. The community was flourishing. All the major cities were full of people and everyone was enjoying the game and having a great time. But that was soon to change. Shortly after the server was released, Kher was approached by a businessman named Hermes. As private servers function in the law's gray area, Hermes offered Kher protection from Blizzard shutting them down, like they shut down Nostarius a few years ago. Hermes, being a financial wizard with several offshore accounts and firms, think Andy Dufresne from the Shawshank Redemption, sounded quite convincing, and he was soon hired as the lead of donations and payments. The server continued to grow with more and more players from all sides of the world flocking over to be part of the phenomenon that was Molten at that time. Things were even going so well that Kher resigned as project leader in 2014 so he could reap the benefits and spend more time with his family. Kher didn't know it at the time, but this would provide Hermes the opportunity to infiltrate himself into every part of the server and to plan his hostile takeover. Kher later stated that Hermes' plan was in motion at least 3 months before the disastrous events that took hold later. In December of 2014, Hermes announced that Molten is suffering from financial losses and that he'd have to cut the staff's payment and bonuses. This immediately alarmed everyone, as December is usually the most profitable month for most companies, as many people spend a lot of money on holiday presents. About that time, it also came to light that one of Hermes' companies had to pay fines for tax evasion. These two incidents prompted Kher to ask Hermes for a full financial disclosure, threatening to otherwise report him to British authorities where he lived at the time. Hermes refuses, and all hell breaks loose. January the 22nd, Hermes pulls the switch and instructs one of his employees to cut off all server access. Players are met with a black screen when trying to log into the game, the forums are down, and some weird posts are placed on Facebook. I brought a friend of mine, Mr. Trolling, who was an active player at that time, to tell us about his experience. Did you know what was happening when the server first went down?
We had no idea. We just thought it was like a maintenance, because they had like those like weekly, monthly maintenance that they would last for like 40 minutes, an hour or two. I don't know. Majority of the people thought it was like that Car made the move himself, like to boost because Molten was somewhat dying and the arena tournament was dying as well at the time, so it was kind of handy that that thing happened. But you know what they say, it's conspiracy.
During those days, Hermes also removed all the other admins from the Molten Facebook page, which was their main medium for community relations, and he started posting his side of the story, calling the whole ordeal a hostile takeover from Care. He claimed that Care does not obtain legal rights to steal, possess, and store private information about thousands of innocent people who trusted their personal data to us before. This was met with great backlash from Molten community, as Care was a beloved leader. The Facebook page lost 50,000 likes in a day, and Hermes announced a fake server shutdown prompted by Blizzard. He also tried to defend his claim and turn the people against the server's original owner. Keep in mind that at this point, Hermes had all administrative power as his company rented the servers. He held the servers hostage as Care and his team tried settling with monetary offers, but Hermes refused them and asked for more money and for Care to make a video message promising to never make claims against him or to investigate in his activities. Care and his team accept their losses at that time, and they try to make the best out of the situation by salvaging what is left. They managed to obtain a copy of the authentication server and the forum databases, keeping the player account information and the forum usable. Then Hermes does the lowest thing possible. He opens his own server with the backups of MoltenWoW, which he stole, and tries to steer the community onto his server. This proved to be a fatal error, and it brings fate to me that the community refused to transfer to the new server, even with all their hard work being there. How did you react to Hermes opening his own server with the MoltenWoW database?
It was like pretty stupid, if you know what I mean. Like a bunch of us like invest a lot of time playing it, and then a guy shows up and steals an entire core and moves it somewhere else and tells you, okay, now you're gonna play here. Of course, nobody wanted to do that because, you know, it was a douchebag move, if you know what I mean.
How many of your friends went to the new server?
Actually, none. We would like occasionally log in and just like check out our tunes because nobody wanted to play there, you know. At the same time, the Carter, I don't know, whatever the hell his name is, pseudonym, he was like convincing us that we will get our stuff back, which we didn't at the end.
Meanwhile, Care and his team rush to bring the server back to life. They buy new domains and bring the forums and the server back online. All the progress has been wiped and the server was fresh again, but that didn't stop the people from coming back. On January the 30th, SoftLayer, which was the company that hosted the new server, gets tipped by Hermes and they shut down the servers with no prior notice. Care contacts them and gets met with extreme unprofessionalism from the other side. Rumor is that Hermes paid off an employee of SoftLayer to keep the servers offline for longer. Hermes' attacks persisted during the next 3 months with every means possible. He tried DDoSing the server, tried getting PayPal to charge back staff salary. He insulted Eastern European players publicly on Facebook, but MoltenWoW persisted. As the dust slowly settled, players were given 5 max-level characters and were refunded the coins they bought as an incentive to stay on the server, as nothing brings man closer than a common misfortune happily overcome. Were you happy with what Molten gave you after the crash?
I mean, it was pretty lame. Me, myself, I lost like 5-6 chars. They were like nearly bis. They weren't bis, but you know, like they were pretty good chars, you know, with like titles and shit. Mostly it's time, you know, like the time, the achievements, the professions, the quests, the, you know, the stuff like that.
The server became better and more popular than ever. Some people even claim that the whole ordeal was a conspiracy theory meant to bring back more players. Sometime after the meltdown, the server was renamed to Warmane and is still to this day the most popular Wrath of the Lich King private server in the world. Hermes' attack achieved the exact opposite of what he was hoping for. I don't know what happened to the man afterwards, as I couldn't find any public records on the internet. That's it for the story. The sources I used are a mix of posts written by Care, Hermes and other notable Molten employees and players. I will include the links to all of them in the description if you want to read them yourself. What do you think of Molten? Were you there when the great crash happened? Please like the video if you liked it and subscribe if you'd like to see similar ones in the future. Thank you for your time and I'll see you in the next one.